Okay, so we're into the third video, which I guess we'll try to title maybe Kidnap or Kidnapping or something along those lines. And this is where things kind of take a step forward in the direction that we were trying to push the story to begin with. So what you're dealing with is a guy that has been stalking her, right? We've established that from the last video. And now he's ready to push it to the next level. So he's following her to her house, he's following her to this coffee shop, he's looking for the opportunity to encounter her and see the kind of reaction that she's going to give him. If this reaction doesn't go the way he had planned, then he's going to take it to the next level, force her to reconsider her position on things the only way he would know how, which is isolation and only dealing with him, getting her away from the poison of everybody else, the people that have been poisoning her mind and raising her to be this way. If I haven't said so already, she's way out of his league. Aside from being highly attractive, she's extremely wealthy. Like there's wealthy and then there's just filthy rich, and she's in the filthy rich department. She's extremely wealthy, and he's not. So there's always this class difference that he's just ignoring. Like it just doesn't exist because he saw her looking at him one day and has just allowed that delusion to grow and grow and grow. Um, so yeah, he starts following her. He's got a bunch of cameras that he's using and whatnot, and then from there he kind of it got into an area where I had to do a little research. So I tried to find examples or some kind of story that would help me solidify the realism necessary to create a realistic kidnapping. I have no experience with this, right? I've read some stories about it, but really, when you're dealing with a kidnapper, you're usually dealing with three individuals, right? There's three types of kidnappers that I've learned. There's those that are doing it for money or, for some kind of something monetary, right? And the good thing is that most of those kidnappings usually end positively. And then there's the darker side of things, and you can get into your political and stuff like that, and those end usually pretty tragically as they're trying to gain attention for themselves. And then there's these kind, which are more personal, and this is almost always done by somebody close to the family. And in this case, this particular kidnapping would be very rare, very unique, because it's like I said, you're dealing with a type of mental delusion of erotomania, if I'm saying that right. Otherwise, you guys just can make fun of me about not saying it right. But everything she does is for him. So you're dealing with a type of delusion that just isn't there. And these usually end up in death, right? Eventually, that delusion snaps and they end up killing the individual. And so we're trying to find ways to get around that particular aspect, which isn't too hard. As I said, the co-author is pretty amazing and it's really easy to write with. And they have a lot of fantastic ideas and knowledge. So it's really helping me go that direction. When it came to the kidnapping, I did a lot of research, and one of the things I want to avoid, no matter what, is children. Right? I don't want anything to do with children. I don't want to know about their kidnappings. I don't want to know about their abuse. I don't want to know about their neglect. I just don't want to know these things. I think they're horrific. They're terrible. I don't. I have limits, and that's one of mine. I just can't. I can't do it. So uh, in this case, I was really struggling to find any information on true accounts that or even fictional accounts that dealt with this kind of situation. I mean, you're almost always dealing with that stuff they put over your face and knock you out with it. And the name is eluding me at the moment, but Yeah, you're almost always dealing with that, or a needle in the neck, or something unrealistic. I mean, the average Joe is not going to be able to get this stuff. So, how would an average Joe do it? And I could not, for the life of me, come up with a logical, safe way to accomplish this. So I started looking at different serial killers and how they abducted their victims, and take away the serial killer part. What I ended up with was one of Ted Bundy's survivors, the one that survived. If that river hadn't been there, would she have truly escaped? Now, I did not tell the co author that I was going to do this prior to doing it. I just used elements. I got the idea from that horrific situation, and with that idea in mind, I was able to kind of mold my own concepts into it and see how that would play out. So he flattened her tires outside of the coffee shop. He got rid of an annoying customer that would always make her leave if she was there because she didn't want to be around him. He prepped this situation so that she would need to come to him for assistance if everything else failed, and it did. Right? He went in there and finally confronted her, which took just about every ounce of strength he had. And it kind of went just about the way you would expect it to. She was, long time no see, don't know who you are, nice to see you again. Yeah, I'm sure we knew each other in school. It wasn't rude, but at the same time, it wasn't genuine either, right? And it had its obvious factors that kind of played into that. As she goes out, he's following her, not too closely, not stalker scary close, just enough to be friendly, and leaving at the same time, kind of coincidence. She notices that her tires are flat. She's going to be late for work, and finally decides it's either this or an Uber. So she asked him if he would give her a ride, and of course he wanted to. And she really did an amazing job at showing how uncomfortable this whole situation was for her character and her side of the writing, and that was really cool. On his side, it it kind of took off from there, right? He just drove right past the exit. He was driving a little too fast, and she was freaking out. Then he's like, put these handcuffs on and do this, and the kidnapping kind of went from there. And then, of course, she tried to escape. And as I stated prior, you break his delusion and things can get violent. Well, escaping from him, no matter what he's doing, is obviously going to break his delusion. Why would she run if she loved him? Why would this be happening if she loved him? And so he started rationalizing things like she's running down the center of the street, she's not screaming at the top of her lungs. She ran into the forest instead of running down towards people. She's doing all these things so that she can be caught. It's her heart calling out to him, telling him, get me, capture me, save me. So he's rationalizing these things, but at the same time, he cannot escape the fact that she is, in fact, running from him. So this resulted in a brutal beating, him kidnapping her, forcing her into the car, knocking her out, hurting her, tying her up, and driving to a whole nother state, way out in the middle of the wilderness, where he had a cabin set up that he had bought. And the cabin, he bought it. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It survives on solar panels and dirt-based septic systems rather than a septic that needs to be changed. There's gas, but it's very little. Kind of more of an emergency situation. He doesn't have any real appliances in this that would take a lot of energy or draw a lot of energy. And then once she's there, which takes a while to get to, it's to the basement. And we will get more into the basement and that whole horrific thing where I started with an idea, she just jumped on this. And it is truly amazing to see what has happened with the basement and the darkness and the sounds and just all the depth that has gone into the horror of the situation. But yeah, that's kind of it for the whole kidnapping thing. My idea, my research, and how that all worked out. And it wouldn't have been possible without the co-authors working with that and going with that. And you know, it's a very horrific and very creepy, very dark story, but it's been a lot of fun. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this little mini series. Like I said, I'll probably only do about 8 of these at the most, and then I'll stop like I did with the serial killer one. And I want to keep them short. I'm running a little long on this one as well. So that's it. I will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be in a day or 2 days. Who knows? Till then, take care.